for us. You know, John Hanna is actually a very good person to speak to about this. At one point, he served as national security advisor to then Vice President Dick Cheney. You're a good person to speak to about a lot of things, John. So thanks for coming back on the show. But I bring that up for obvious reasons. You know, Vice President Cheney spent a lot of time in the quote-unquote undisclosed locations. In this case, you have a traveling on a plane. We actually have a screen comparing or bringing up past incidents where Bill Clinton, for example, did something, I think, similar. A trip to Pakistan in the year 2000. Many presidents, including George W. Bush and Barack Obama, have secretly gone in and out of war zones. So I would take those two out of this. And I think the closest comparison is Clinton. From what I understand, the president of the White House Correspondents Association was told off the record, according to the Washington Post, about the Clinton switching of planes. We don't know if anyone was now. What about this? What stands out to someone like you with your experience?
Well, on the one hand, Connell, it's entirely true that for the Secret Service, they've got one priority. If an emergency threat develops, they're going to protect the president, and, you know, everybody else is kind of on their own. I experienced that in the White House in 2001, 9/11. Secret Service moved the vice president down to that bunker underneath the White House. Everybody else had to make their own way out. So you understand that. The thing about this is there was obviously a degree of planning, a period of time where they were able to put together this very complex ruse and essentially put the unwitting press and White House staffers in some degree of danger as a decoy to ensure the president's safety. So that's unusual, and I don't recall that ever happening, using a decoy with innocents aboard. It may have happened in the past, but it's unusual.
Like when President Bush, 9/11 was being moved around and ended up landing in Nebraska. The press traveling with him knew they were there on the plane with him. So just trying to think back to past events like this. Again, the Clinton thing, the closest, but apparently at least one reporter knew. Do you have an issue with that? Perhaps, as far as we know, at least from the reporting so far, maybe this will change, but nobody knowing in the press corps where the president is, which usually someone does as a traveling press pool with the president for a reason at all times, and B, the risk to those reporters and to the White House staff.
Yeah, again, I can't think of another time that it happened. I don't know enough about this threat other than with each new report about what happened. It's obvious that it was of deep and high concern. The president and the Iranians are not on good terms for years. We know the Iranians have been plotting and scheming to try and get the president. And I think you have to take that entirely seriously. And going into Turkey at this point in the middle of a war was a dangerous trip for the president. But I think we're going to need more information to really judge in the balance, putting the press, putting some of these White House staffers at risk as a decoy, sending them up in the air, knowing that there was a high chance the Iranians might try and take a shot at it.
Let me just do real quick on the telestrator for people. People may have seen this already. I don't want to ask you about the war, but this idea that the president traveled on this catering truck is getting a lot of attention. What does it mean? There's some video here, and you see the president walking in to what was not the Qatari jet, but the old Air Force One, which is what he said he would be traveling on. And then as the president walks in, the door closes. And then as you widen out here just for a moment, this is what they're saying happened. This is the catering truck that pulls up on the other side of the plane, and apparently the president was shuttled out the other side of the plane onto this catering truck. We can actually view it from the other side. There it is. See it? And then that catering, usually putting the food on the plane, ended up taking the president apparently to another plane where Secretary Hegseth was flying. So this was quite something. There's no doubt about it. John, the other thing I want to ask you about is the actual, and you're right, there's a threat against the president is a real one from Iran. Okay, what about the execution of this war with Iran right now? The latest is that, we're in this back and forth period of threats, but also that CENTCOM is saying now that the military did fire on a Panamanian flagged ship in the Gulf of Oman. So there is some activity there. Where's this all going?
Yeah, they're still going the tit for tat in the strait itself, but no signs that the president has got a military option to that at acceptable cost to reopen the straits, much less go in for a major escalation against power plants and bridges, knowing the Iranians have some level of escalation dominance and that they can retaliate and devastate the Gulf state infrastructure and really take the world economy over the edge. So right now it's a standoff economically in the strait itself, a little bit of tit for tat. But I don't see a lot of good options for the president right now to get out of this.
So is your best guess that we settle into some sort of a new normal as opposed to any kind of a firm kind of conclusion to all this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very hard for the president to accept what the Iranians are demanding. If he can get away for the next 3 months in the current status quo, squeezing the Iranians, strangulating their economy, I don't know if the Iranians will be willing to play that game. They may force him into an escalation that he really doesn't want to go down. But if he thinks he can manage oil where it is now, $85, $100, and get to the midterms, that's not a bad strategy if the Iranians let him use it.
All right, John, as always, thank you. John Hanna.